Hey everybody, Mandy Ray of Ecstatic Astrology here to talk about the full moon in Gemini, which is exact tonight, Wednesday, December 7th, 10:08 p.m. in the central US. So check your local time where that might be exact for you. This full moon's in Gemini at 16 degrees. And a full moon in Gemini is a reflection of our beliefs. Generally speaking, there's a new moon in Sagittarius first. That was the case this moon phase. Next year, they're going to be a little different. We're going to have a new moon in a sign and a full moon in a completely in conjunct sign. That's going to be interesting. But for this one, we had the new moon in Sagittarius, and this full moon is reflecting that Sagittarius new moon seed that we planted. And Sagittarius is about our beliefs, our truth, how we expand, how we adventure, how we search for knowledge. And we planted a seed there 2 weeks ago. This is the culmination, and it's in Gemini. Interestingly, Gemini is about data gathering, sharing of information, the way we think, the way we communicate, the way we listen, as well as commerce to a certain extent. Even transportation is a Gemini signification. So the full moon there is inviting us to think, to communicate, to be open-minded, to research, and even more so because Mars retrograde is there. And Mars is action, it is motivation, it is our ego, it's what keeps us alive, it's survival, it is a cutting blade. And I've told people on Twitter to be careful about blades and cutting yourself around this time. I've actually experienced it. So has Warren, my partner. He cut his hand the other day slicing. Actually, he wasn't cutting anything. He was sharpening the knives and sliced right into his hand. So Mars can be a cutting knife, and it is a malefic in traditional astrology. And when it's retrograde in Gemini, it's a little like a Mercury retrograde because Gemini is a Mercury ruled sign. So our thoughts may get jumbled. There is a lot of communicating, a lot of information flying back and forth. And we may feel over emotional about it at this full moon. But it is shining a light and saying, clarify this place in your life. And so I think we can get some clarity. The other thing about Mars retrograde is at this full moon, it's exactly opposite to the sun. So the Mars opposition to the sun only happens when Mars is retrograde. And this is a time when both signs are activated. The sun in Sagittarius, our beliefs, our truth, how we seek knowledge, philosophies about life, our worldview, and the moon and Mars retrograde opposite exactly in Gemini, the sign of communication and the trickster. Honestly, Gemini can be the trickster. So sometimes during times like these, we have to make decisions, or we feel like we do, or we're not sure if we can make the decision. But with Mars retrograde there does seem to be a certain push towards clarity. And I'm really looking forward to that. Now, there is an aspect of this that can make it almost frustrating, perhaps a bit inflammatory. That is a Mars signification. And again, I already talked about the cutting of the hands, but we can also think maybe we're cutting something out of our lives, or we get more clarity on a place, especially perhaps where we were looking at during the Gemini and Sagittarius eclipses last year. And I think there was an eclipse very close to this full moon, around 19 degrees. So there is a sense of finishing up some story in Gemini. And so when I go through the rising signs, which will be a separate video, I always do them separately now, that is what I'm going to focus on, is what we're gaining clarity on, what we might actually figure out in terms of our desires, a Mars retrograde thing, and where that's at in your chart. And where I think that things might come to pass where they weren't before, where we put a lot of energy into. It's Mars, it's energy, it's action. There is another thing, though, and that is that Mars is out of bounds. What is out of bounds? What does it mean? It means that it is beyond the declination of the sun. So imagine the sun rises and gets to about here. That's 23 degrees, 27 minutes. Mars is beyond that. It's at 24. It's a little bit above where the sun orbits. So an out of bounds planet can act uncharacteristically, it can act erratic. It can also be just boundaryless. It is literally out of the boundary of where the sun orbits. So when we think about an out of bounds planet, we can think there's definitely an emphasis on the significations of that planet. Mars being our ego, action, motivation, passions, desires, survival, and even war. The moon, which is emotions, which is what's full at this full moon, reflecting all of the sun's light, is also out of bounds. Extra emotions, extra feeling. But in Gemini, it's such an odd mixture. It is emotion that we can intellectually understand or that we have to put our minds on. And so you may feel uncomfortable. You may feel restless during this full moon. I would definitely, traditional astrology would say to be careful around this time. And I don't think that's a bad thing to do. I actually went and had a dental cleaning today, and it hurt. She kind of nicked my gums a little bit, but that's okay. It's all right. I knew what it was, and I actually told the hygienist about the full moon, and she was like, "Wow, my daughter's a Gemini. Is that why she's acting crazy?" I was like, "Bingo, that's it." It was a fun exchange. But maybe that's not the greatest idea to go have a cleaning of your teeth on the full moon in Gemini. It kind of smarts. But yeah, I would definitely, it's a time there you may want to kind of stay in, think, read, listen. There is a lot of that to do. We're also formulating opinions. We are really getting to a pinpoint for where we want to go. Now, why do I say that? And that's because Mercury, which rules Gemini, is in Capricorn. Capricorn is about achievement, success. It's about how we climb the mountain, build our lives. That is Capricorn. It's the rules, the structures, it's even government. So Mercury's there, and it's ruling the full moon. And Mercury in Capricorn is serious. It wants to get the plan right. It wants to know exactly how to do things. So it's not all frenetic, crazy ping pong energy. There is a certain groundedness, a certain, okay, I'm doing research on this in order to achieve, in order to fulfill my purpose. Now we can go a step further and say that Saturn, which rules Capricorn, Saturn's the rules, Saturn is structure, Saturn is the taskmaster. It is the planet in astrology that is the boundary. It's the last one that you can see with the naked eye, at least now in these times, without going to a dark sky park with binoculars. You can sort of see Uranus. So that's something to note. But Saturn has traditionally been known as the boundary, the cell wall, the thing that holds it all in, the structure. And it's in Aquarius, the other sign it rules. Saturn rules two signs in traditional astrology, rules Capricorn and Aquarius. Aquarius is still structured, but it's about the future. It's about innovation. It's about how we can do structures in a new way. It's about the way society fits together and works together. It is large groups of people in astrology, and the future, innovation. It is a bird's eye view. That is what Aquarius is. It's fixed air. So it's really easy to imagine a bird floating on the wind way, way far above our heads. Or maybe a balloon. Hopefully not the Hindenburg, right? Maybe not a blimp that catches fire. Let's hope not. But Aquarius is fixed air. So it's mental. It is intellect. It's also technology. It rules the internet. So as we're getting very clear on how we want to build the structures in our life and how we want to innovate them, it is also about the future. Where do you see yourself in the future? So yes, this full moon in Gemini is frenetic. It's full of maybe uncomfortableness. And that's due to Mars, that's due to passion, that's due to energy being exerted into an already energetic sign, Gemini, the nervous system. And so restlessness factors into this full moon. But yeah, I would definitely take care with your body during this time and go slowly. Watch your hands. Gemini rules the hands and the lungs. Watch these things while you're cutting and while you're doing. Even I literally even had surgery during this moon phase. So it's just a cool signification to really see this come to light. And we may see things come to light. You may get new information that you didn't expect to get. You may be bombarded with it, maybe busy. That's also a possibility. But either way, you are looking to how you can achieve your purpose. So check those rising sign videos out. I'm going to now go through the rest of the 2 weeks leading up to the next new moon, as I always do. And it's actually a fairly quiet period of time. There aren't like a whole lot of changes, which I feel like it hasn't been quiet in a long time. And not that things aren't going to happen. But as far as aspects in astrology go, things seemingly are allowing us time to distill and to understand. And in fact, Mercury will go retrograde at the end of December 29th. And then we will have a time to even reevaluate over the new year. So there's a sense of maybe even slowing down, yet also speeding up. It's a very strange time. So let's go through that. I'm going to share the chart because I like to be able to look at it while I'm telling you guys about the upcoming couple of weeks. Here we go. Right now, this is the full moon, and I can show you that we have the moon and Mars right here at 16 degrees, and the sun right here at 16 degrees, Sagittarius and Gemini. And that is what a full moon looks like in astrology. One thing I haven't noted is that the Sabian symbol for this full moon actually really does a good job describing what I was trying to say earlier about how we are also looking towards our success, towards our achievement, our purpose. And the full Sabian symbol, which is just a word picture for this full moon, is the head of a robust youth changes into that of a mature thinker. And we can sum this up by saying what is pictured as the transformation of emotions into mind, of instincts into thoughts, a process of mental metamorphosis. I absolutely love this Sabian symbol. It is a mental metamorphosis. That is what we're dealing with right now. So I wanted to offer that up before we moved on. And now we can look forward to the future and we can say, all right, what's coming up? Today is Wednesday, December 7th. On Thursday, December 8th, we still have the moon in Gemini. We are building up to a moon opposite of Venus, and that happens at night around the same time as the full moon tonight, just after 10 in central US. The moon opposing Venus, although very brief, it's also very nice. It feels very good. It feels very open, like we want to be jovial, having fun, researching, maybe traveling, adventuring, talking to people. That is all very moon opposite to Venus concept, and I really love that. But I don't think any of this is, I will say it is square to Jupiter. So there could be some conversations that are like, hey, this is what I believe, but Venus in Sagittarius is offering us some peacekeeping, some love. And it, I think, further adds to the clarity that we're trying to get. Jupiter is in Pisces at the very last degree. And on Friday, what we have is Venus squaring Jupiter. A square is typically known as tension. The only tension that would come from a Venus Jupiter is too much of Venus. So maybe spending money on Christmas gifts, maybe being a little too optimistic about something. Otherwise, it's a very nice time with Venus squared Jupiter. And that's all day Friday. Actually, yeah, it starts even overnight Thursday. And the moon kind of brings a focal point to that Thursday night. Then Friday, it's active all day. And then Friday night, Venus moves into Capricorn. This is Friday, December 9th. with the moon in Cancer, which is fairly emotional. So we can expect to maybe feel into in our hearts, in our inner selves, feel into what the full moon kind of brought us a little more than during the full moon. Even though we have such a big emotional moment, the moon even passes in front of Mars at the full moon, which really exacerbates those feelings. It's still fairly intellectual. Moving into Cancer, we start to move that emotion. And then Venus moves into Capricorn. And we can think about, home and emotional security versus how we build our lives versus achievement versus purpose. How do those two fit together? But yeah, Friday, December 9th, although it may be a little like I want to stay in bed, emotional, it's okay. Venus moving into Capricorn is actually pretty nice. I like Venus in Capricorn. Okay, so let's move on to the weekend, Saturday, December 10th. Really, not much is changing. The only big aspect I'm going to talk about is the moon trining Neptune and Jupiter. So this may feel like a magical Saturday. I really look forward to Saturday the 10th. It seems like it's going to be fun. Like people are going to be feeling squishy and good inside, and that looks like a good thing to have going on a Saturday. The only thing I will note is that late in the day, and I'm talking overnight, the moon, let's see, does it happen the next morning? Sunday morning, actually, we're having this. The moon opposes Pluto, very brief, a moment where we might say, I don't know why I let that person talk to me the way I did. It doesn't feel right. Pluto is about empowerment. The moon in Cancer is about being in touch with our intuition and emotion, what we need. The moon's trining Jupiter at the same time. So this could be a pretty big, maybe hurdle for Sunday morning, got to get over this, but it also may be that you did something you stepped into your power. And that was a really good thing. So it may feel good. It just depends on you and your own chart, Sunday, December 11th. Monday, December 12th, the moon is in Leo. I will say it makes some interesting aspects. The moon is a very fast moving planetary object. It's a luminary. It reflects the sun's light. And as it's waning from its full moon in Leo, it's going to square Uranus, which is, I think I'm changing. I need to change this, or an upheaval or an unexpected event. That's probably midday on Monday. Going into the evening, actually, we have the moon square Uranus. A cute realization that your values are changing, and maybe the inner part of you that is the inner child, the place that likes to have fun, that likes to goof off, may feel a little uncomfortable with this change in values, but again, it's brief. So yeah, maybe expect the unexpected on Monday, December 12th in the evening. And then as we move into Tuesday, December 13th, we wake up with the moon opposite to Saturn. That is always a moment that feels a little bit like an obstacle, like, it feels like responsibility. Maybe people who are really looking forward to Christmas, we've got all of that going on, yet we still have to go to work or something of that nature. And the moon does trine the sun at the same time in Sagittarius. So this indicates that we're really getting close to, okay, this is what we believe, this is our worldview, and now let's go build it in the future. So while it could be a little uncomfortable, a lot of responsibility, there is this sense of I can build it, I can do it. And I really love that as well. December 14th, let's see, when does the moon move into Virgo? Oh, that's going to be, overnight, Wednesday, December 14th. And then we wake up with the moon in Virgo. Okay. Really take advantage of this day, Wednesday, December 14th. The moon's trine to Venus, always a really, really great moment. This is around, I'm going to say 11, 12, 1, 2, even into the night, because the moon will also trine Mercury. What's so good about the moon in Virgo is that we've got Venus and Mercury in Capricorn. Those are both earth signs. Earth signs work really well together when there's a planet in one earth sign and a planet in another earth sign, and they make this pretty blue trine here. Then we have a supportive aspect going on. So the moon in Virgo discerns, it makes lists, it plans, it gets to the very, very detailed nitty gritty of the situation. Virgo really likes to have good habits. Virgo really likes to be healthy and to take care of others and help others in their healing journey. So I think Wednesday, December 14th, we have some really nice things to get a hold of, if you will. We can build, we can get really clear, we can plan, and all of that's very good. And we'll even try Mercury late at night, but it may be a little bit of a sleepless night. I'm not going to lie, because as we are sleeping, especially early morning, Thursday, December 15th, the moon will square Mars. So if you wake up grumpy Thursday, December 15th, you're going to know why. Moon square Mars, Mars being frustration, action, motivation. And there's a lot of information flying around over here in Gemini. The moon in Virgo is like, but I'm trying to get to the details of it. And this is crazy. I actually really this aspect pattern looks a little bit like Metroid to me. I really love it. It's interesting because we also have Mercury squaring Chiron at that time. Chiron is a place where we might be sensitive. It's the wounded healer. And we may be very acutely aware of places that we don't feel accepted, that we don't feel like we can be honest, that we don't feel like we can be ourselves, but we're supposed to heal that. Okay. We're supposed to really kind of forge on and really accept ourselves. Next year is all about accepting yourself and getting comfortable. Okay. And I really love that, especially after all the changes we've been through. So yeah, and then we've got the third quarter square of the moon, Thursday, December 15th, always a kind of a tense time. It's a time where we need to take action. It happens exactly overnight, a pretty half moon, waning half moon. This is around 3 a.m. on Friday, December 16th. Again, maybe a sleepless night. So I'm calling Thursday and Friday kind of frenetic in nature with the moon square Mars and then the moon square the sun. Especially in Virgo, which already kind of worries, because we can see the details in Virgo. So the 15th and 16th can be a little uncomfortable. There are some really good things. There usually is. And one of those is that Mercury is going to trine Uranus. This is going into Friday. Mercury trine Uranus, it's 1 degree away on Friday, is about changing our minds and being really able to accept the changes in our lives, the changes in reality around us. It's also very revolutionary, very freedom seeking, but Mercury's in Capricorn, which is really trying to hold that structure together. Uranus is in Taurus, which is upheaval of values, change of values. So to have the two working together is the changes are working for you on Friday, December 16th. The moon moves into Libra, and we've got Venus and Capricorn. So we are going to have a moon square to Venus later in the evening, even overnight. Not a big deal. Moon square Venus doesn't tend to, I think it's actually a good aspect if you ask me. Saturday, December 17th, we still have Mercury trine to Uranus. Do not be surprised if things change. If you change your mind, if you're surprised by some information that changes your mind, or maybe a change in things you like, a change in the places that you feel comfortable. It's like, oh, I actually feel comfortable enough to apply for this job now. Wow, I didn't realize I would. That is the type of energy a Mercury trine to Uranus brings. Let's see here. Moon in Libra Saturday. I'm going to call that overall pretty good. The Saturday, December 17th looks like it feels good. Like it's working for us. I like that, especially with the moon coming into trine Saturn. That's Sunday, December 18th. So yeah, that weekend looks pretty nice after Thursday and Friday, maybe some discomfort, some needing to take some action. Okay, so what we're coming into here is the moon in Scorpio, Sunday, December 18th. This is in the evening. This is moon in Scorpio is never insanely fun. It's a deep dive into our shadow. It's a deep dive into how we share resources, including our own time and our bodies with others. And is there a boundary there? Am I getting what I need? Am I giving enough? That sort of thing. That's a very Scorpio topic. Now, transformation, life, death, rebirth, all of those are Scorpio topics. It's the moon, though. We feel into it. Usually that It does make Mars the significator. It's the ruler of the moon. So this may bring back some of this full moon ideas going on right now, Monday, December 19th. And yeah, Sunday night, December 18th. The moon hits the eclipse points, the south node on around dinner time, Monday, December 19th, and then opposes Uranus. So that also looks a little bit like we're researching something going on deep down. What are our deep desires? Is this working for me? Am I getting what I need? Am I really sticking to what I believe I'm worth, especially with Uranus and Taurus? So Monday, December 19th, maybe a little uncomfortable that evening, emotionally speaking. Tuesday, December 20th, we've got the moon trine to Neptune. Oh, that's right. And one big deal. This is probably the biggest change leading up to the next new moon. I'm going to draw a little circle here so we can see. That is right at, let me get you the exact minute here. Right there. Yeah. You can see it move. That's Jupiter. Jupiter's moving back into Aries at 8:33 a.m. December 20th, which is a Tuesday Central Time. Jupiter in Aries is very much about how we want to do things according to our own desires. It really expands the need to be autonomous, to be independent, to be authentic, to be here as we are, and also to go after the things we want to go after. So Jupiter moving into Aries really kicks the dust up, so to speak. Jupiter in Pisces leading up to this is very mystical, very magical. But our intuition's really highlighted with Jupiter in Pisces. But Jupiter moving into Aries says, let's go, let's get on it, let's do it. What are we doing? Well, Mars on Tuesday, December 20th is sextile to Chiron. This is an opportunistic aspect. Chiron is the wounded healer, again, working on the right to be here as we truly are, the right to survive, honestly. Aries is about our deepest desires, our ego, the ego that keeps you alive, not the ego that people say you need to kill. Ego is necessary in life or we wouldn't be here. So the Mars sextile to that really tunes us into a place where we might need to heal. Jupiter's also in Aries. This day looks like a lot happens, like we really come into some knowing, some inner knowing about the direction we're headed, especially about the Gemini Mars retrograde and what that's about. And then as we move into Wednesday, December 21st, Venus starts to come into the trine with Uranus. Venus trine Uranus is one of I look forward to these aspects because Venus is love, money. It's where we're comfortable. It's aesthetic beauty. It's creativity. Venus in Capricorn is all of that and how we apply that to success in our lives. Trine Uranus is throwing us a curveball, but I think it's a good one. It's almost like tossing you the keys when you forget them, It's like, oh, there's the keys. I thought I'd lost them. Venus trine Uranus is like, not only here are the keys, but there's also a new car waiting in your driveway. What? I love it. But yeah, I really look at Venus trine Uranus as a good thing. Things do change rapidly with Uranus involved and with supply chain stuff going on. And the economy, I would definitely look for that in the news. Don't think it's going to be too bad, but you never can tell. Uranus is unpredictable. And then what happens is we've got on Thursday, December 22nd, we've got the sun moving into Capricorn. Actually, that happens on Wednesday, December 21st, late at night. So the solstice is exact. I think the solstice is a good thing to note, don't you? The winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, the longest night of the year, December 21st, Wednesday at 3:49 p.m. is when the sun moves over the Capricorn solstice point, and we are in winter officially. So that is significant in and of itself. But I also think with Venus trine to Uranus during the solstice and Mars sextile to Chiron, there are good things afoot. But there is one thing to note, and that is the moon, Wednesday, December 21st, opposes Mars. That can be a lot like we're feeling at this full moon. The moon opposite Mars or the moon with Mars can be conflagrations, inflammations. It can be a bursting forth of energy, especially from our place of inner knowing, Sagittarius. So something to keep in mind as we move into the solstice. And then December 22nd, we are almost at that new moon. Venus is about to leave the spot of its trine with Uranus. Anything else I see? No, I think that just brings us into the new moon in Capricorn energy, which will square Jupiter. Really excited to talk about that. The other thing is Mercury is now in shadow. Mercury goes into shadow. Let me look at this. I'm going to look at the retrograde of Mercury. Let's see. It goes retrograde December 29th through January 18th. So actually, when it reaches 8 degrees of Capricorn, it's in the shadow of retrograde. Let me get that date for you. It reaches 8 degrees of Capricorn on December 12th. So something to note, will be under the close influence of Mercury retrograde. Oh, look, December 12th, Monday, the sun is sextile Saturn. I almost forgot about that. That's a really, really good day to get stuff done. But yeah, I think that takes us through the next 2 weeks. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the rising sign videos and then upload it all to YouTube. I have been toying around with what to do for the Christmas season with my astrology business. Do I run a sale? Do I do a year ahead video? Do I do a workshop? Do I, I have gift cards available on my website, as always, ecstaticastrology.com. What do I do? So if you guys are looking for something from me, let me know, because I'm either going to do a year ahead video workshop or very, kind of short one on YouTube. I could also do the rising signs. There's many, many, many possibilities, but book your year ahead session with me. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited about next year. And I mean, yes, there's ups and downs as always, but I think that this will be a really nice year. Yay, right? Okay, guys, I'm going to go do the rising sign videos. I'm Mandy Ray of Ecstatic Astrology, ecstaticastrology.com to book or to read. I'm going to have another article coming out in the OPA magazine for the solstice. So I will post that when it's up, and it goes over the next 3 months from solstice to equinox. And I'm really, really excited about writing those transit reports for OPA's magazine when I get to do them. It's really cool. OPA is the Organization for Professional Astrology, which I belong to and have been certified by, and I really enjoy that organization that promotes really good ethics among astrologers and community among astrologers and astrology enthusiasts. So definitely worth a check out. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Go check out your rising sign video.